I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 1, Episode 25. I am gonna say that this is, I think, the finale for Season 1.
Yep.
Right? We're told that we have a couple OVAs to watch next. Sweet, like an OVA, depending on the OVA.
Yeah. We've had a good track record with some OVAs recently.
On the channel,
so I'm excited for any OVAs.
I'm also excited to watch this episode. We left off with, like, the revelation of this body sharing thing that's happening, which...
You are my eyes.
Sidebar, like, you really have to trust somebody to lend them your body. Like, not even in, like, a fighting sense where your life's in the line, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
It would take a lot for me to be okay with that. You know, letting somebody have that control.
This trust that is being shown here before we even realize what the pushing of the limit of that trust even actually is, just by Subaru's initial body language not facing the enemy, but facing the knight in front of him.
Yeah.
But then to learn, like, that level of trust, like, they push the bounds of it. It's so much more than that.
Yeah, I'd let Julie take control of my body.
Yeah.
I'd let Otto take control of my body.
Of course.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'd also let Wilhelm take control of my body.
That was a poop.
The trust.
Is he gone?
Of course he is.
Oh!
Oh. Like choking on my words.
I love when someone disappears, like, right when you realize something, like what they mean by their words.
Yeah. So cool.
This is tough for Subaru, too. Like, he needs to observe. He can't miss anything.
The voice acting, man.
They're counting on each other.
Oh!
Oh!
I don't like how much damage is being done. Whew!
Nice. Sweet. Swift. Julius, use Swift.
Woo! Oh. I love Julie's, like, aura for his attacks. Reminds me of Gogeta. Jesus! Oh!
What? That was sweet.
Scatter to the rainbow's end. Subaru could feel it.
Mm-hmm. While you wait. While he's in it, he's gonna return. He's gonna evoke the words. What a choice!
Holy
what a
shit!
Choice! How does she even actually feel about you? No. No. No, it's your heart.
Get rejected, bro.
It sounded like a young girl.
I couldn't tell if it sounded like Amelia.
It did, kind of.
Oh.
You are not the one.
He's trying to take them out with him.
Ho, ho. The gospel. I wonder what the explanation to Julius was about how to handle when Betelgeuse was inside Subaru.
Oh? Oh.
Are they on the carriage with the children? They are! That's bad. Are they buried like...
What do you do?
And we've already spent time with Subaru getting back to hear about this.
Yes.
And I'll drive real fast. Leave it to Otto. He'll get...
So
Crown Dragons
nervous.
disagree. They're like, I don't know if we could get you there. I have a crush on Julius. Shortcuts!
What? What the fuck? Just destroyed that entire
Look at Otto's
bridge!
face! He's a crazy man. Something.
Mob beasts?
Is it something good or something? Is it
Unseen hand?
Is it Betelgeuse?
What the fuck?
He's like turned into this demon.
Facts. Oh!
It'd make me forget. We made a promise.
Oh. Narcs.
Mm-hmm. How do we get out of this? Are we going to see the battlefield? Are we going to pass Wilhelm?
I fucking hate that thing. Oh! Now it's closer and on fire.
Even if you've forgotten. His gospel.
Oh! He's writing in it with blood?
No way.
What?
Is it because he has the witch's blessing actually?
Wilhelm's probably faster than this carriage. Oh my god, what a character! They could not make Wilhelm cooler if they tried.
I think one of the other older men appeared with him. Reuniting.
Oh. Like the tires squeal. Oh. Under the carriage.
He's like ripping it with his hands.
How far away do you need to get them?
Get there in time. Please get there in time. I don't want to restart. The ground dragon's body probably protected him a great deal.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
He's a detective. You have no idea. Jesus.
Is this fake? Is this a dream?
No, it isn't. Oh. I love the reflection of her in his eyes. No. And hers back.
Oh, it's hard for her to believe.
Oh.
Similar to him and Rem's conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Special treatment that made me happy. You can always share it.
I wonder if that whisper in the song is supposed to resemble the witch. That's all this story is about. Okay, that was Rezero, Season 1, Episode 25. That was a very fulfilling ending to a season.
I agree. I did get a moment of worry at the very end there. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not to almost play a little like gotcha on the audience because we're so used to not believing when things are going well that they're going to continue to go well in this show. And so I don't know if it was purposeful in order to like give you a little jump scare for a second, but when the music went away and Amelia started talking, again more at the end, as soon as the music dropped out for a second, I think that was a glitch in the mic. As soon as the music dropped out for a second, I got just like an immediate like panic feeling. Like, am I missing something? She's saying that this makes her so happy. Is she allowed to have such happiness?
So I don't think it was intentional to make you feel that way.
And then when the music came back in, I felt better.
But I do think that that's just like it's like a response that we have
That's
now
why
because
I'm wondering
of what's
if it was like a choice
happening to us. I don't know why, but not for a second I doubted the ending there. And usually I'm very on edge and like skeptical about that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I
wasn't doubting anything. Like, I was like, Subaru, this is the finale episode of this season. You've made it past. You're creating a new save point.
Yeah.
You did it. You succeeded in this little arc. But then as soon as that audio, I was like...
I think that this serves as such a great end to a season for this specific story, right? At multiple times throughout this season, I was questioning how Return by Death worked. I was scared that maybe we'd go back even further than what our save was, or if we die and have to restart the save again. But what this gives me is like confidence and closure on what we've gone through in the past 25 episodes.
Right, and it also gives us some really interesting things to talk about and think about in terms of the actual witch. Because of bringing forward actually almost showing a silhouetted version of what the witch looks like in this episode with a voice and with the Betelgeuse interaction.
Yeah.
And with the words that you are not the one.
Okay. Let's go through it chronologically.
I know, that is something
because
is big.
That deserves attention to it. And I think it might help me talk about it more if we can get there through dialogue and like the way that the episode played out, so I have more context of it.
I feel like I'm gonna like sit up in my chair like a little kid.
Like right away when we got into the action with Julie, I've fallen so hard for his character, dude.
I love Julius. If he does not continue being in content from Rezero, I would be pretty sad. Because they're little frenemies. They're dynamic, but also just like Julius's personality, I find incredibly entertaining and fun.
Yeah, I loved that, like, it seemed like it wasn't a perfect fit at first of using this ability to see through Subaru's eyes. I loved that it seemed like it was taking a bit for Julius and Subaru to both get accustomed to it. Mm-hmm. So they started a little slow, and then once they were getting accustomed, they really sped up in their attacks and their movement. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised that Julius was getting injured. Like, not because Betelgeuse isn't like a terrifying foe or capable, but I feel like we don't often see like characters that are like in the Reinhard or Wilhelm realm of characters getting hurt in a fight. Obviously, we've seen Ram and Rem and
dashing knight aura that you just could see being the one that comes in and saves the day, sparkling. It's this great contrast to Subaru and his jumpsuit, in his tracksuit, that does not match what you would typically think a knight for Amelia should look like or appear to be or fight like. I I was actually also surprised when he got injured. I don't know where that surprise came from. When you were bringing it up, I was trying to unpack it for myself of like, why was I actually,
Yeah.
because Betelgeuse is a tough foe. We
And
literally had a couple episodes of horror, more than a couple of terrifying things that this man has done.
But also, we've had so many instances of people and characters that we love in this show getting fucking tortured.
So I wonder where that
I don't know.
came from.
I guess maybe like the aspect of it being a knight and like how they present themselves and what we've seen them do, whether it was Wilhelm's wife in a flashback, whether what we've seen from Reinhard, you know,
It could be that, but it also could be story placement and the point of showing this relationship and dynamic with Subaru and Julius, that they were at this height of trust with each other that you almost think it's like the final move.
Yeah.
And we're at the end of this story, this season, episode 25, that you are like, and maybe it's harder for you to believe then that when we get them at their height of trust and friendship, I guess you could say, and he's a sparkly dashing knight and Subaru is awesome and tenacious and scrappy and a great team up there and a great thing that they're able to do, and they had such plans against Betelgeuse of how to deal with him here. They had all the information they needed. I think everything that we as the viewer had going into this fight felt extremely, maybe even overconfident, to the point where that it surprised me when he did get injured. But it made sense once they explained it, like you said, that it takes a little bit of time to get used to using someone else's eyes and being so connected like that.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be like any dropping off of Julius's presence in the show after this season. Like if we're going to get another night, or we're going to go like, I definitely want to focus on, you know, like Julius for a bit, like before because this was his big part in the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like going forward next season, I could imagine a world where, for lack of a better term, Julius is benched for a bit. And that saddens me on one hand, but I'd understand if the story went in that direction.
Why it would go in that direction, in my opinion, is because there were 2 knights of candidates that were not involved in this fight at all.
Yeah.
And one of them being the first knight we meet, and the person that is their candidate was integral to the beginning of this story. And I feel like if any knight is going to get more of a highlight going forward, or maybe replace Julius back on the screen, it would be Reinhard.
Gotcha. I loved Julius's aura in his fight. It was like sparkly, and it reminded me of a character's move set or specific move in Dragon Ball Z, like a movie.
Didn't you say a name?
Yeah.
It sounded like it was from Dragon Ball.
But now I don't want to say. Okay, I don't know what the crossover specifically would be, or like the Venn diagram of people who watch ReZero or
also
watch Dragon Ball. Yeah,
fair.
But I have watched Dragon Ball and am pretty well equipped with knowledge of Dragon Ball, and Anna hasn't seen anything. I've been struggling and going back and forth.
There's some like vegetable names.
Yeah,
That's what I know.
I've been struggling and going back and forth in what I want, how I want to go about showing Anna Dragon Ball in general, because on one hand, I would love to, on or off the channel, start you from Dragon Ball, then Z, like go through the story. Mm-hmm. But on another hand, what I'd love to do selfishly is on the channel have you blind react to Dragon Ball Z Abridged from the first time and go from that perspective. But I don't know how that might affect your entire experience as a whole. In Dragon Ball. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions or could help me out. That'd be great. Done with the Dragon Ball tangent, I guess.
There's similar situations from what you're saying to other shows where maybe even like that reboot sense of, would you show someone the original version or would you show someone the newer version?
This is so uniquely different because so in that scenario, it would be, I'd try to decide if I'd show you Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Kai, because it's the same thing. It's like, it's what I'm imagining what you're thinking of could be like a Fruits Baskets case from what I know. Yes. I don't know anything about Fruits Baskets, but I know that there's a new iteration and there's an old iteration based off of what you told me. But this is completely different because it skips content, right? All right, sorry.
Anyway,
yeah, anyway, so we're getting to the point where Betelgeuse is taking over Subaru's body, and Subaru makes the awesome decision to try to use Return by Death.
Which when this started happening, my first thought was, how did we explain this to Julius?
Okay,
we hear some of Subaru explaining some of these things, with obviously leaving things out in terms of the original plan of how to handle.
I'm really glad that you're bringing that up, because that's exactly what I want to talk about first before we get into the witch. Like, there has to be, now more than ever, an acknowledgement other than the witch's scent to what Subaru's abilities are. Obviously not specifically what it is, but the idea that he is able to cause a devastating blow to Betelgeuse in front of Julius with something that is not fully understood.
I think what I have to latch onto is that idea that if these characters were all written with the realist personality traits and the realist they could be, then some could be dumb, but not all of them are dumb. And I feel like if you were around Subaru enough, or he subtly or hid things in his explanations, but still, you get the point and you feel trust for him, about the scent. There's a few things that he has explained, like, oh, the mob beasts will be drawn to me, or Betelgeuse might be able to take over my body, that you might in your head connect that there's something about Subaru that is connected to the witch that you're not going to pry, because obviously he's not being forthcoming with it, but he's a good guy and you trust him because you trust the content of his character. So there's just something there that you cannot understand. Therefore, when he tells you something that has to do with the witch and you trust him, you're just going to go with it.
How I imagine a conversation would have played out is Julius and Subaru already had this plan going in, right? To take over the body.
I would assume that by how things transpired.
Yeah. And I imagine in that conversation, it's like, okay, this is going to happen. We're going to do this. If we get to the point where I tell you to release control of me, I will handle the rest. And it's probably left at that for now. After the fact, when you're trying to put together those pieces, if you're thinking about it the way that you just described, you get to a point where me as a viewer, I'm nervous, because there's such an outward disdain and hate for the witch, and so much so that it's affecting somebody who somewhat resembles the witch. If Subaru, regardless of the actions that he's doing being seen as great and good, and the whales being defeated and people are being saved, if there is somewhat of a correlation in between the witch and Subaru, I'm worried that characters would start being wary of Subaru then, and suspicious of him if he's not able to tell details about his connection with the witch.
That's probably why in writing some of these characters, we give them these capabilities. Wilhelm and Krusch specifically are two characters we've been told have some type of attribute about them that makes it easy for them to tell the content of someone's character and if they're lying.
Yeah.
So they're giving kind of some bonus points to some of the characters in the story for their patience, their understanding, their communication skills, their trust.
Yeah.
Because there would be a decent amount of people that I feel like would not they would not treat Subaru very well as soon as they learn some of the things that he has to say.
Yeah. I feel really bad for Betelgeuse, man. Like,
he got majorly rejected.
It's hard for me to say that because of what has happened to Rem at the hands of Betelgeuse, right? Like,
Rem got the worst of it from Betelgeuse.
That will be ingrained in my mind for the rest of my life, watching her head and like her body and arms twist.
In the air, worst.
But I'm like, you gotta respect like the amount of devotion he has, like in some degree. And when he comes face to face with the person he's so devoted to, and they're like, nah, next, like I don't want anything to deal with you. That's fucking defeating. And then like he's like so in awe about it, and then later he's right back to his devotion. Like, he's still devoted after he got rejected by the witch herself.
So, okay. I so want to unpack this. I think I want to like break it down. Like, witch obviously brought Subaru into this world.
Uh-huh.
Obviously gave him this power to receive information and go back in time and fix things.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, she would have known how that would have worked, that he could have done it in the favor of Amelia if he really wanted to save her.
Yeah.
And we know that this gospel, it's possible that the witch wrote this gospel. In part of me, especially once we get this silhouette and the voice, I'm like, is this actually some grand plan on the witch's end to create the ideal knight for Amelia, and to also we get this idea that Amelia's the ideal vessel for the witch. I feel like that is probably super hard to come by. Sounds like it is. Where do you get another half elf with hair like that everyone is going to say looks like and reminds them of Satella?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's on purpose. And I almost feel like I've been saying it for a while, that we cannot truly say what the intentions of the witch are by using Subaru in this, yes, horrifying way. And also, I can't fully get on board with the fact that she was in open communication with the Fingers and with Betelgeuse, because we pretty much got confirmation that Betelgeuse doesn't have conversations with her.
Yeah.
He just goes by the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he goes by, is a written book about her. And yes, he's been given powers, but all communication and all knowledge of what the witch would want is written in this gospel.
Yeah. I like your idea of the witch's potential, like, motive here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's to protect her vessel or to actually protect Amelia. There could be some world or timeline that we're living in that the witch ended up, after being bad, had a daughter and wants the best life for her.
Or this is like a reincarnated version of the witch. Like, actually, this is the witch. Like, in full personality and everything, just before anything bad happened, before the witch became the bad witch that everyone remembers. I think that it's so interesting to, like, theorize and wonder, and we have been for a bit, of what the actual intentions are of the witch for giving Subaru this ability and bringing Subaru here.
At the moment, it's easier for me to think that it's because she wants her vessel protected. And in a lot of iterations of this life, it ends with Amelia's death. So she needed something out of this world to interact with this world to keep her alive.
And wouldn't it be the perfect test of what defenses you already have and what army you already have if you pit them against what this new prize that you're bringing in?
But not only you're pitting them against, I'd imagine that it's gradual, right? Like, you're strengthening Subaru's capability. Yeah, exactly.
You are not the one.
Yeah, exactly. And whether that's the truth or not, I don't know. Remains to be seen.
This idea of love is such a common word that is being used both with Betelgeuse to the witch. This idea that the witch reaches in and caresses the heart of Subaru. Subaru in love with this idea of love, but also this idea of the witch and where she enacts her power on Subaru.
Why?
With the heart. Everything is just so incredibly, like, I want to just, like, dig into it more.
So if why would the witch harm Amelia then? When she did? Through
to show
Return
Subaru
by Death.
Something.
It's worth the risk of that at that point, because you know that of the ability that he has, and you know that it's just going to be another retake.
Think about this. If the witch gave Subaru this ability, think about the abilities the witch would have herself.
That's true.
They'd be above that.
I love...
way surpassing that.
I love how she looks, to be honest with you. I'm obsessed with it. It's cool.
It's cruel to think that there is, like, really good intentions, and that Subaru will have had to walk through and deal with all of this stuff for that. But if it ends up being for a good intention, I think Subaru, the character, at the end of the day, if all goes well at the end of the journey, would feel so thankful that he was brought to this world and could meet this girl that he loves and was
Mhm.
able to protect her and save her.
Yeah. What do you think she meant by "you are not the one"? Like, as in Subaru is the one?
Mm-hmm. Because she was expecting to reach into Subaru's heart when she said that.
Yeah.
Like when he said the words, she was expecting to reach and feel his heart, and it wasn't. It was Betelgeuse's.
God, I wonder how that's going to develop, the ability of telling people, because like at the end of the day, like at like a finale of a series standpoint, like I feel like it's crucial that other characters or like Amelia find out about this ability at some point, right? And how that's going to be conveyed. Like if the witch is present in the world and not just in this ethereal plane,
Mm-hmm.
would they still have the capability of stopping Subaru from telling people?
So, what that idea makes me think of is also the idea that Subaru is an anomaly in terms of like the witch's power and what the witch has done here with bringing him from another world and also return by death.
Yeah.
To the fact that it is a power that no one knows the witch has.
Yeah.
It is not something in a book that someone will meet Subaru and be like, I read a book once that the witch could do something like that, and then piece together that maybe that's what Subaru is going through. It doesn't even seem like that's the case.
Yeah.
That they'd be able to piece it together by literature on the witch or the witch's powers. Maybe he could indirectly, continuously over time say things as he has from the very beginning of the show, said things that might make people curious.
Mm-hmm.
If he either maybe he's psychic,
Yeah.
maybe he has premonitions, maybe he has dreams that can tell him something of the future, and maybe that's his power.
Yeah. But anybody who's more like inquisitive about it and asking questions, I don't know. Part of me feels like they won't put that in front of us anytime soon, even. I don't know.
They've left us in this state of no one's asking too many questions, everyone trusts him.
Yep. You know the ground dragon looking at the other one, Otto's ground dragon
Otto's
looking
ground dragon
so
reacting.
like, bro, it's not even reacting at this point. Otto's ground dragon has been through some things.
Yeah.
He knows what kind of driver Otto is. That's my interpretation of the scene in hindsight. I'm like, he knows what's about to fucking happen and he's nervous about it. He's going to be thrown off a cliff, destroy
He's
a
gonna
bridge.
have to run down the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
Just wild stuff. Wild ride. Otto's wild ride.
Like, and I know that it probably is a terrifying idea that Betelgeuse in as this monster zombie is chasing after you, but that's nothing compared to Otto's driving. You know? God, that's a terrifying image.
So many fears. So many terrifying things.
What do you take away from this whole interaction with Betelgeuse chasing after the carriage results in, one, his reaffirmed like belief in the witch, but two, the writing on the book of the gospel in blood and what looked like was like a disappearance of the unseen hand almost upon writing it, right?
What it says to me is that Subaru is the one disciple, the one person the witch is putting, love into for Betelgeuse's word. That's where the true love.
So was Unseen Hand and Betelgeuse dealt with because like they were already on death's door and were pushed over, or was writing into the gospel like making that exist, like almost like a Death Note type thing, you know?
Maybe Death Note. I could also take it as what was keeping his soul alive, because that was like basically like a corpse walking.
Yeah.
Like what was keeping his soul alive was that last clinging hope of love.
Yeah.
because he was so devoted, it was almost like his body was still moving, even though he was basically, gone
Yeah.
from his body, but his body's like moving on its own. And that once Subaru in the book solidifies that Betelgeuse is no longer a haver of that love, there's nothing keeping that body going anymore.
Yeah. When Subaru showed up to the carriage and grabbed the explosive and
We had that awesome shot of him jumping it, like,
silhouetted,
that was so great.
like a superhero, it was so cool. I for a second legitimately thought that he might die carrying the explosives away happily, and the season ends, and not as like a cliffhanger as much, but like as a viewer being like, okay, he knows what he needs to do now. We have comfort in it not going to happen next time. And it's like that trust and faith I have in him. But obviously, he's just better than that. He got there in time, managed to get out of there in time, and
I couldn't
survived.
imagine from a writing standpoint if you did kill him there. And then go through this whole arc again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine doing that like one more time.
But that's why it'd be shown off screen in my like perception, my POV, right? Like he dies here and you end the season there, and then the next like episode starts in another place. I'm glad they didn't go that route, of course, but I'm like at one point in the episode I thought that's might would be happening. On their interaction, Amelia and Subaru, I'm just like, it's hard for me not to imagine Puck is always there, and Puck will always be there.
This is his daughter, Subaru, and you have your head in her lap. I do not approve.
I've seen what Puck can do.
Puck is scary when met. Don't intimidate him.
Yeah.
Don't intimidate him, because you know who's backing him? You know who's in his corner? Betty.
Yeah. I miss Betty.
I wouldn't mess with them.
There were so many similarities between this conversation and the conversation between Rem and Subaru.
Yes.
You almost feel like bad.
Yes, it almost like digs the knife a little bit deeper, because I'm like, oh, Subaru, where did you get this inspiration of how to communicate your feelings here? Because you've heard it before and
no one will ever know
how it felt.
Yeah.
Oh, that it did hurt a little bit hearing it. Like, I was happy of how he was phrasing things to her, because I was happy when Rem phrased things similarly to Subaru. But a little bit of me was like, you've heard this before.
Yeah. I really felt like it was so fulfilling to hear Subaru acknowledge what he was to Amelia, and like what had happened and why he said what he said, and like the growth shown there. It felt so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
This was exactly what you would have wanted from a reunion with them,
Mm-hmm.
which is good energy, not the tension that I previously would have thought would have been in it. Good energy, him back in that similar scene where his head is in her lap and he can make his normal jokes and normal comments to her, and where he is owning up for a fault of his own of how he treated her.
Yep.
He was using her for his own self-satisfaction. He literally words it that way. And that he's owning up to that. And then the reassurance and the validation later of like his feelings and what he is willing to do for her and why after that was so great.
Yeah. I almost thought for a second that Amelia was going to acknowledge Subaru as her knight. You know?
I almost feel like that's what it is.
It's implied.
I think it's implied after Wilhelm said that line before leaving. What, like, master like servant?
Yeah.
That's what he said
as
he was leaving. I think that was almost solidified it.
What was his line? Like, nothing's going to stop a man en route to his woman.
Something like that.
Oh, it's so cool. What do you think's gonna happen next season? Or the OVAs?
Before I get there, one line that I just wanted to point out that she said in this scene that I just especially liked enough to write down was that this is the type of special treatment that would make her happy. She does not want special treatment. She constantly gets treated special or different or poorly by others because of how she looks and who she is. And she never liked when Subaru gave her special treatment, because the special treatment that he was giving her was for his own self-satisfaction at the time. and it felt uncomfortable for her. And this is the
This
special
is different.
treatment that
This is
makes her
considerate.
happy. This is love, this is consideration, this is compassion, this is care. This is someone who is able to understand you deeply, that you were lonely, and to know exactly what you are needing and wanting to hear and how they can support you.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay, we can go
Okay.
forward
Okay,
with
yeah,
thoughts
yeah.
now.
Going forward, I imagine two things. We will be going forward in terms of the candidates and the election process,
Fair.
as well as the fingers will be gone through, right? We will meet more of them and have to deal with more of them, not necessarily by desire of us or our party, but I think that they are going to
It's
insert
not
themselves into the
controllable.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's controllable. Now that we know they have a mission, that Amelia in the gospel is the vessel,
Yeah.
it's unavoidable.
I wonder if that's information is ever going to be disclosed in any way to people, if it's like talked about.
I think we'd have to. I think that
That's not going to make people want to vote for her.
Well, no, not to like regular people. I'm saying to the other candidates and the people in charge, you know, the people that can, the knights, the Wilhelms, the Cruches, the Juliuses, the knights, you
Yeah.
know, that we will tell them that it is a plot and a plan by the witch's cult
Yeah.
to use Amelia as a vessel. None of them are going to want that, because what that means is the witch comes back to life in full force. No candidate is going to want that.
Yeah.
Whether Amelia wins or not.
But don't
they
you
don't
think it
want
would
that.
affect her chances? Because like would you want somebody in to have that much power in their hand
That could be used as a vessel.
that could be used as a vessel?
I mean, it's a similar parallel to the possession that happens of Subaru with Betelgeuse.
That's very true. Subaru is a vessel in that sense.
Yes, it's a great point that you bring up. I think that each of the candidates are at the point where they're not going to influence other than their own, like, look what I did for my people.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to, like, sabotage each other to that extent, I think, which would be them telling the common people about Amelia being a vessel for the witch.
Yeah.
I think it might possibly freak some of them out, but what it would also mean is a lot of them will probably have gotten to know her to some extent that they would almost feel bad for her. Like that we don't want her to be used as a vessel. It would also be bad for me if I reign, if I'm in charge, to have the witch walking around again. But also, like, she didn't do anything to deserve that.
Yeah. I'm excited for the OVAs.
I know, I don't
know what a short contained story looks like in this show.
Is it a look at another attempt at something? Maybe. I don't know. I guess if it's made and it's good and we're gonna watch it, then that's perfectly fine with me. Is Rem in it? Is a Rem and Ram reunion?
It could be like what ifs, you know? I could see that.
That's fair.
Like different like your what do you like an Etch-a-Sketch, right? Or like not an Etch-a-Sketch. You're just shaking up the players involved is what I'm trying to say. Like the characters, like, oh, what if instead of
like an
Julius here was
Time.
Reinhard,
in
you know?
Adventure Time when they have all the little bags of all the characters in
Oh,
the
yeah,
show
yeah,
and they like
yeah.
mess with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have you.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.